Hi guys, in Module 21, we're going to start taking what we learned from our algebraic unit in solving equations, and we're going to start combining it with some geometry. Okay, so this is a little help for lesson 21.1. This first video is just to help you guys learn the vocabulary properly. Okay, this lesson was called Parallel Lines Cut by a Transversal. Okay, before we get to those words, make sure you know the word congruent, and here's the symbol for congruent. It's just a equal sign with a tilde above it. That means the same thing as equal or same measure. Okay, so this and this basically have the same meaning. This is just a geometric way of saying equal, where this is an algebraic way of saying equal. Okay, another word we should know at this point already, supplementary, means has a sum of 180 degrees. Okay, supplementary means angles that have a sum of 180 degrees. Okay, something we should know, that a straight line has a measure of 180 degrees. That means a half a circle. Okay, so that is 180 degrees. If I were to divide it using another ray coming off it, I now have two angles here. Okay, one of them here, this is an obtuse angle. This is a acute angle. All right, together they still form that 180 degrees. So if I'm just making this up here, if this angle was 120 degrees, okay, that's obtuse, more than 90 degrees, that would mean this one would have to be how much? Yeah, 60 degrees, because they have to have a sum of 180. Okay, so these two angles are called supplementary angles. Again, sum of 180. All right, so now make sure you know these two words for when we get into what we're going to be talking about in lesson 21.1. Okay, all right, so parallel means two lines that would go on forever and never ever intersect each other, never run into each other. Think of two streets near our building, Independence Avenue and Forest Avenue. All right, if they continued on and on and on forever, they would never intersect because they are parallel. Okay, this word up here, transversal, this is going to be a third line in this diagram. It's a line that runs into those two parallel lines. Okay, think about that as like Hyde Park Boulevard. It runs into Forest and Independence Ave. Okay, so this is called a transversal. Okay, when that happens, how many angles are created? Okay, there's going to be a total of 8. I'm just going to label them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so there's 8 angles in that diagram. Okay, there's going to be a lot of angle relationships going on with each other. Every angle in this diagram has a relationship with another angle in the diagram. That's why I wrote down these words off to the side. These are the words you should know in lesson 21.1. So that's why I'm spending this video just talking about some vocabulary here. All right. The first one is vertical angles. Vertical angles are two angles that are across from each other. So angles like 1 and 3, those are vertical angles. Angles 2 and 4, those are vertical angles. Okay. Angle 5 and 7, those are vertical angles. Angle 6 and angle 8, those are vertical angles. And what you need to know is vertical angles are always, that's the symbol for congruent, which means equal. Okay, so this angle is equal to this one, this angle is equal to this one, this angle is equal to this one, this angle is equal to this one. Okay? Another word you need to know, corresponding. This, by the way, this little symbol here, that means angles. I forgot to mention that up here. This is a little symbol for angles. Corresponding angles are basically angles that are in the same position. If you notice, there's 4 angles up here and 4 angles down here. These 4 have the exact same measure as these 4 angles here, all right? So the corresponding ones mean the same position, okay? So angle 1 up here corresponds to angle 5. You see they're in the same position, okay? Angle 2 corresponds to angle 6. Those are corresponding angles. Angle 3 corresponds with angle 7. They're in the same position, okay? And angle 4 corresponds with angle 8. They're in the same position. And corresponding angles, again, are always congruent, all right? That means 1 and 5 are equal, 2 and 6 are equal, 3 and 7 are equal, 4 and 8 are equal, okay? I know this is a lot of information. Take your time when you're looking over this. Keep rewinding back and forth and just make sure you know these vocabulary words. Okay, before I get to the words alternate, there is a group of interior angles and there's a group of exterior angles, okay? The interior angles are the angles that are in between the parallel lines, all right? So angles 3, 4, 5, and 6, those are called interior angles. Angles 1, 2, 8, and 7, those are the angles on the outside of the parallel lines. They are called exterior. Alternate just means on the opposite sides, all right? So if I look at the diagram, which angle is alternate interior to angle 3? It would be angle 5. They're on opposite sides of the transversal, okay? And they're interior, okay? These are called alternate interior angles, all right? Another pair of alternate interior angles would be 4 and 6. Those are called alternate interior angles, okay? And again, alternate interior angles will always be congruent or equal, all right? So 4 is equal to 6, and the angle 3 is equal to angle 5, okay? And the same with alternate exterior angles, all right? Angle 1 is alternate exterior with angle 7, okay? Those are equal to each other. Angle 2 and angle 8, those are alternate exterior angles, so they will always be equal to each other, or the proper word is congruent, okay? So those are some angle pairs that are equal to each other, all right? Now, two angles in this diagram won't always be equal to each other. Sometimes they will be supplementary, which we talked about up here, means we'll have a sum of 180. For instance, angle 1 and angle 2, you can definitely see angle 1 here is obtuse. This one's acute. 1 and 2 just look like these two, don't they? Kind of in the same position here. So these two have a sum of 180. So when they're next to each other like this, that means adjacent. Adjacent means next to each other. Those would add up to 180. These two would add up to 180, okay? 5 and 6 would add up to 180. Angle 6 and angle 7 would add up. Basically, any ones that are right next to each other form this kind of picture, right? So they would add up to 180, all right? How about 1 and 8, okay? So this is an exterior and exterior. 1 and 7 were alternate exterior angles. 1 and 8 are actually on the same side of the transversal, all right? This one looks like it's obtuse, doesn't it? Yep. And this one definitely looks like it is acute. So there's no way those two are equal to each other, all right? So since angle 4 and angle 8 are the same, and we said these two would add up to 180, and I'm giving you guys a lot of information here. Since 1 and 4 add up to 180, that means 1 and 8 must also add up to 180. So again, those are called supplementary angles. So basically what you need to know here is any two angles you pick, they're either going to be congruent to each other, or they're going to be supplementary angles, which means it adds up to 180, okay? So that's the vocabulary you need to know, all right? I hope that was helpful. Now we'll get into some algebra with some geometry, all right? Good job, guys.